Good morning. I thought of waiting for some more time, but people in the online are already troubling, so we will start. You know me. I'll keep my talk mostly in English, so that the masses from non-Telugu areas are also comfortable. How serious are we with UPSC? అంటే ఇంత అని అలా కాదు. I mean, can you quantify how serious are we? Pretty serious. I know few of you who have met me, some of you whom I did not meet. You have had your graduation, right? How was your graduation? You studied, you enjoyed, studied and enjoyed, never was in the college, but completed your exams. Which category you belong to?
Mostly enjoyed, little bit study.
Little bit study and mostly enjoyed. So enjoyment was different, study was different. So if at all I ask you, or what you remember the most in your graduation days, what comes to your mind? Outstanding ante bayata nilabaddama. Outstanding what? Outside, standing outside the class. It's a new meaning of outstanding. We have CSAT paper also. What do you remember? So you are outside the class mostly. That's what he remembers. And your graduation days, if you have to remember, the most favorite thing that comes to your mind? Semester exams. Exams were the ones that you enjoyed by doing what?
Group discussions.
Roaming on roads, very beautiful. Boozing? Yeah, very good. You still doing it now? You gave up? Who told you to give up? She told you? She ended up with mom. So what else? I mean, there's a classic group. What else comes to your mind when I say graduation?
Farewell party.
Farewell party.
Friends.
Okay.
Friends.
Friends. And class bunks. Beautiful. Cinema, very beautiful. So in this whole thing, where is your graduation subject? Poor thing, that's one girl who said exams and group discussions and things like that, odd student out. But for most of us, what we remember is what we have enjoyed. So I think if at all, the subject you are studying and your enjoyment come together, I think that can be the best thing. What say? Because once you have finished your graduation and you came to UPSC, we have decided on anthropology, did we? Most of us, we decided on anthropology. Why? There's some answer, right? Amma? It felt interesting. And me perama? Vaishnavi. She felt interesting and somebody said it is scoring.
I am interested towards this subject.
You are interested in the subject.
It seemed like answering many of my questions which I had to.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. So you have already learnt the subject, you need not do the course. I beg your pardon on that. We do not go by popular conceptions or misconceptions. For example, in the last year's pre-paper, if a bit of less dynamic part was asked in the pre-general studies, if at all you had kept aside the entire dynamic part, I think you would have definitely might not have scored well in the. So you don't judge UPSC on those lines. No stereotypes actually. UPSC just gives you the syllabus. How and what it has to ask is its wish. So we are not supposed to stereotype that see this is a static kind of a thing or dynamic kind of a thing. Everywhere UPSC looks for what is contemporary. Okay. Now, any other confusion you still have with UPSC anthropology? पहले तो UPSC लिखने का decided है ना? There's no confusion about it, right? Otherwise, I don't think you would be spending your Saturday here, weekend here. And when it comes to anthro, whatever questions are there, we will take the questions after a bit of things. There are some questions here which I will be taking up. So whoever is writing questions, give me some time, you keep posting your questions. I will try to answer them as I get into already quite a number of them. Do you know anybody, have you seen anybody in your day-to-day life or any anthropologist that you know other than me? Who heard about, read about? I will flash some names, some photographs. You try to recognize them. Knowing fully well that you have been studying general studies for your exam. You know him. Who is he? Name is there. Afghanistan. Okay, the former president of Afghanistan, who was an anthropologist. He studied anthropology. He taught anthropology in Johns Hopkins universities, and he was primarily studying sociocultural anthropology. This man was in news March 2022, if you are preparing for your current affairs thing. This man is also an anthropologist, had been working in Kerala on several aspects, that is fishing communities of Kerala, dance forms, cuisines and various other cultural aspects. He was actually working on one particular thing, that is fishing communities and the dangers they have been facing in the fishing operations. So he was trying to help out, devising technologies to help the fishing communities to get the catch as well as to save their lives in the case of any kind of eventuality. And that is only one side of it. It became an international issue because he had the academic visa, researcher visa, but then and he had been researching in India for about 30 years, not a small time. He's been traveling in and out of India many times, but this time when he came to India, he was deported back to his country, that was UK, without showing a reason for what he was actually deported. And he writes his own blog where he mentions this, that because he was also associated with research programs in Pakistan, every time when he was trying to enter India, people always had a raised eyebrow, but then nobody stopped at that time. But this time there was some kind of an extreme action because of which he was actually deported back. And that shows, and Kerala Chief Minister writes to the Prime Minister to take up action against this particular thing that had happened, and it stands still. I mean, this sends a huge lot of negative opinion about India, especially academic researchers who are coming to India to do this kind of a work. I think this is going to affect our universities, our research bodies, so that is a very important. So in a day-to-day life, when you're looking into the newspapers, when you're talking to people, you have people who are anthropologists. It's only that when you say that a particular subject is static or dynamic, when such kind of things actually occur, questions are picked up from this kind of a thing. So in your course that we are going to start, we will try to see what kind of questions can be asked from this development that had happened. Am I there, sir? Know him? Jomo Kenyatta. Which country he could be from? Huh? Kenya, yeah, Kenya. That's good. The first president of Kenya, who was also an anthropologist. I mean, in this world, there have been people, politicians, scientists, academics, politicians of all the people who have been anthropologists, either by practice or by education. This was one, and he was part of the rights movements in Kenya. Jim Yong Kim. Any guesses? Chinese, huh? Korean, great. Korean. Further guesses? The former head of the World Bank, appointed by Barack Obama, recommended by Barack Obama. A person who was a biological anthropologist. So, do biological anthropology become the head of World Bank? Looks interesting. World Bank, on the other hand, requires not simply requires your economic skills, your skills regarding the markets, but it also requires information. It also requires your inputs regarding the cultural understanding of the global economies, and that is where he was actually chosen from. His skill in economy, his skill in global understandings, and also cultural aspects based on which Obama had recommended him. Obama's mom herself, she was an anthropologist, so he was parented by an anthropologist mom. And I think that is where his cross-cultural understanding had been very strong, and that is Obama in the lap of his mother. You knew this? Obama's mother was an anthropologist? Some of you knew, yes. When she passed away, newspapers cried out that the anthropologist mom had died. I do all this so that you are entertained. At the same time, you learn the subject. Because, if I am reading out the syllabus, I am sure you are not really interested in. What I strongly believe in is internalization of the subject. You will have to learn the subject in a way that you really do not know that you are learning. What say? You learn things in such a way that you don't realize. It's like a slow poison which we inject into you. Anthropology, like UPSC, is an opium and slow poison. You attempt UPSC once, you are opiated, you are drugged, you really cannot come out. Anthropology is also like that. You dare not change your optional once you have come to anthropology. Otherwise, my sword will be there under your throat. Kind of. Not many people know about this. That Dr. B.R. Ambedkar himself was an anthropologist. A person who had written extensively on caste and social stratification in India. Tried to fight through his writings such as Annihilation of Caste. You remember that book's name by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Annihilation of Caste? The man who took the old man head on, Mr. Gandhi. See, so many names of anthropologists you are learning in the workshop itself. So I promise you that every class you will have tens of anthropologists who would enter your body physic, and each anthropologist is fighting inside. First class, I am giving you about 7 to 10 anthropologists. This is one more. Yeah. And he studied MA Anthropology. Utkal University. Nehru was known for this, appointing anthropologists in important positions, whether they are research bodies or the ministries. And after that there was a huge lull. I don't think that his appointment was based on anthropology. It might be a coincidence, but yeah. You can perhaps go back home and check the profiles of those people. So these are the general questions that I come across when I talk to students, whoever are trying to get to learn the subject of anthropology. So what I would do is I would first answer these questions: who can study, how to study, where from to study, how long to study, what about note making, what about testing and writing. These are the primary things I will be taking up, and then I will try to answer the queries in the list here. Some people have written an essay also, essays also they have written in the form of doubts. So I'll take your questions also, kind of. Before I start talking about these questions and try to tell you what exactly I am going to do in the course to come up with, a friend was asking just before we entered the class what makes our class different, kind of. So I had given my answer to him. I would slightly modify that answer and give. Most often what happens is that once you reach a position in life, in your career, you become stagnant there. Say for example you become an officer, you are selected in civil services, which was, according to some of you, is your childhood dream. According to you, like a childhood dream. जैसा आपने जन्म लिया तस्बी शुरू किया IAS वाला. But exactly that doesn't happen. Though you say that that's a childhood dream, childhood in Indian case is too long. Indian childhood is too long. Sometimes it goes to 35, 38 years also. As long as UPSC is allowing, as long as government is allowing you to write the exams, your childhood expands. Unlike many other countries, I have a friend in my fieldwork in Queensland. Now she had faced this problem at the age of 12, when at the age of 14, when she continued to stay with her parents, which is against their cultural norm. At 14 you have to be by yourself, you should fend for yourself, and parents had given a structure that if you want to continue to live in our household, you kindly pay rent. Just imagine in India your parent says 14 saal ho gaye aapke, and then as you are entering your 15th year, if your parent says pay rent for the period that you are staying in the house, what would happen to you or to the neighbors? Neighbors would start, attacking your parent with all verbal and all kinds of abuses, that they don't care for their children, blah 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 kind of a thing. And parents forcefully, even after your graduation, try to keep funding for you. I'm sorry if I have hurt you. Some parents are there, it is for their information. So sir, if your child is more than 14 years, I'm not asking you to disown the child, but then try to teach them being responsible in earning their own bread. My son is 9 years old, he earns his own bread. He does foot massage, or जब घर जाते हैं, or maybe he waters the plants, he fills the bottles, he cleans the tables, and then paise do. Kind of. That's good. He has his kiddie bank wherein he is trying to do stuff so that he can buy a big Xbox sometime. That's the objective basically. Kind of. Going ahead from here, sir. I will do these things first. You have the syllabus with you, right? I am not going to discuss that. We will talk about it slowly. Did you, Vaishnavi had seen the syllabus, you had seen the syllabus. Who else had seen the syllabus of Anthropology UPSC? Good. I am not going to ask any questions, don't worry. I won't ask any questions. Very good, very good. After all that, when you open the syllabus and read, that's incredible. memorize your syllabus. See, 22nd of June we are going to start your class. Before 22nd, you sit and memorize your syllabus. Sometimes there is a problem in pronouncing the words also. You have to read the syllabus, you have to learn the syllabus by heart. So if I say paper 1 9.5 chapter, you should be able to recall. Don't think that this is a funny exercise that we are doing. This is very, very important. Sometimes, there are questions. Look at your syllabus document, paper 1, chapter 1. One point one rather reads as meaning and scope of anthropology. If that is the kind of a question that is asked in the exam, you should know the content of your syllabus. You are more or less writing the syllabus in your answer. If you have not prepared for that question, at least you are going to write the syllabus down like how you used to do in your graduation. If you do not know the answer, you write the question 5 times, you get the marks. I know, I am chuckling your graduation days. Fine. So we will do this. Most of the people have these questions, so I am taking up these questions in addition to them, or any subsidiary questions are there, you can keep asking me and kind of. This is a huge question people come up with who can study, because see, the thing is, we have only 2 ears, but we have hundreds of mouths to put their voice in our ears, and we do not use our discussion generally to say no to anything. How confident you are in saying no to anybody? How confident you are in saying no to anybody, learning to say no. When was the last time you said no to anything or anybody? A difficult situation, you were supposed to say no, you successfully said no, which you did not do earlier. Oh great. Anything else?
Every day at some point we answer to ourselves no.
It is not like should I eat chicken or mutton today. I am not talking about that. Or generally should I take bath or no? Say no kind of a thing.
Convincing our parents to proceed this UPSC preparation was a challenging task.
Beautiful. Convincing your parent says that why UPSC, do something else, unnecessary time waste, jaldi शादी कर ले, तेरे साथ के बच्चे देख, उनकी शादी हो गई, उनके बच्चे भी हो गए, स्कूल भी जा रहे हैं और तुम स्कूल के किताब पढ़ रहे हो, NCERT 5th grade 6th grade, they are studying 6th grade books and you are studying. Difficult. और అంతేనా జీవితంలో ఎప్పుడు నో అనాల్సిన అవసరం రాలేదండి.
Keeping off all personal commitments.
बच्चे देखेंगे. और बताइए. That's all. इतना सोच रहे हो? You have anything?
I usually spend most of the time with my friends. But from last week onwards, I am saying no. I want to study. So leave me alone. I'm start saying no.
You started saying no. अभी आपको बोलना है अभी. Started saying. You still have to start saying no. And that's very, very important. No? Starting to say no. So there are people who always feed you information as if it is a time tested opinion. People come up with certain questions that what should be my academic background in order to study anthropology. What should be my academic background in order to study anthropology? Did this come to you anytime? Did this question come to you anytime based on my background? You faced this question, what should be my background? See, the thing is, when UPSC is saying that, it is giving a list of optionals, 20 odd options, and it is saying that you can be a graduate, that's the basic qualification. Being a graduate in any field, if you are able to take up any of these subjects, you are welcome. It is not saying that, see, if you are a master is in economics alone, you should be able to take economics, or if you have studied medical science, only you should be able to study medical and take up medical science. There is no restriction as such. So you can be a bloody civil engineer, but you can take up medical science. You understand? So the background restriction is not there. That is the beauty of civil services actually, while choosing the subject. And throughout your life you did not know what Pali literature was. But then you took Pali literature and cleared the exam. And that's the triggering point. Why exactly I should take up this particular option? There could be several questions and several situations based on which you might have come to this conclusion that, see, I should take up this option alone, kind of. So this is always nothing less than an accident. It's nothing less than an accident that you come to a conclusion that I am going to take this particular optional subject. But then when it comes to anthropology, the restriction of background doesn't exist, similar to any other subject for that matter. If you are choosing geography, if you are choosing management, if you are choosing chemistry, if you are choosing whatever, how there is no restriction of background, here also we don't have a restriction of the background. Okay. One thing people might feel that, see, there are so many biological terms in the syllabus. I think that was bothering some of you, am I right? There are some biological terms in the syllabus that might have been bothering people, and that is where we have a problem and solution also. As one of my friends says, whenever we come up with a problem, every problem comes up with a solution as well. The problem for you may be that seeing so many biological terminologies, but then these terminologies are to be studied not purely in the biological way, but what the sociological way of utilization was. So you are not going to, if at all you give the same syllabus to somebody from life sciences, they would try to write answers in thorough biological orientation. They may go to a very high depth of answering the same questions. Say, for example, nutritional disorders, if that is the question in the exam. If you give to a life sciences person, he would fill the entire booklet with all the scientific knowledge related to nutritional disorders. What causes, what kind of nutritional deficiencies, and then what is the medication that you give, or what kind of a treatment that you would go for, which actually doesn't come in this particular scenario of anthropology. What we would be studying is how different cultures have been facing nutritional deficiencies. You understand? Suppose you are a coastal population. In your culture, some foods are not there. If you are somebody in the continental basin, some foods are not there. Say, and in such a situation, say, if you are a hunter-gatherer, you have a huge lot of protein diet, but then if you are an agricultural community, you do not have the protein diet. You might be having a lot of carbs, and hence there might be definitely some kind of a deficiency out there. Are you following what I am saying? So when you are answering, when you are trying to study a topic, that is definitely from a different orientation. So it is not mandatory that you be having some kind of a scientific background or science related background or the other. And sometimes what happens is there are certain topics that are there in the syllabus, so that you just get acquainted with, but questions definitely would not be coming up from there. For example, you have this topic, you can see 1.7 in paper 1. Read out. Biological basis of life. So that whole thing is about cell biology, cell division kind of a thing, where from questions generally do not appear. But then we deal with these things in the class, so that you are not really of the opinion that, see, I do not know what a biological cell is, kind of a thing. So there are certain areas where you just need to have a knowledge for your own confidence levels, not that this is going to be a question in the exam. So you do not worry about it. From which background I can be, kind of, you can be an engineer, you can be a medico, you can be a person from social sciences or mathematics, etc. It doesn't matter. As long as you understand the content, that is important, as long as you understand the content. Any questions related to this? In the meantime, I will start taking this up. Somebody says don't use the laptop mic, I am not using. Sajal, I think I am audible to you. So similar question has come here. Working professional for 30 years old, starting preparation now, taking anthropology, engineer by graduation. Any words of wisdom? How to start and finish paper to have 12 hours working? My goodness. 4 attempts wasted. Age about 29. Need to say on this, I will tell. How to score well in anthro. Any difference between online and offline courses? I am reading out the questions, sir. All of them I will try to answer. Do not want to depend on interview. I want to maximize score. How to prepare? And then some questions regarding anthro that is making me insecure. Will anthropology be targeted by UPSC? And then how to write an effective and unique answer in anthropology. I am stopping here. Rest of the questions I will take up. Sir, any questions related to this? Somebody was saying that 30-year-old, 29-year-old, whatsoever, sir. These are pretty personal questions, sir. So in such a case, suppose you have finished 4 attempts, you need some kind of a help. So if these are the kind of questions that you have, here we have Pradeep Ghosh, you can actually schedule a call and you can get to talk to me. I will try to help you out. And regarding how many hours and how long, I think that is where I would try to mention. So what we generally do in the program is, I take about 4.5 months to complete your course. And these 4.5 months and whenever I am trying to deal with the program, I try to see to it that dynamic elements are incorporated in your answers, in your discussions. Meaning, revising the note becomes very, very essential. And that is where I always tell the juniors also, junior teachers also, study, revise your notes, upgrade your notes. That's very, very important, because UPSC is not a static kind of a question paper. They try to incorporate more and more new things. People keep asking me, what kind of current affairs are generally incorporated in the questions? Did that question come to you? What kind of current affairs? See, when it comes to current affairs related to anthropology, there are 2 things. One is, suppose you take up any particular topic. In this topic, any new things are added, new content is added. New content is added. Look at your syllabus, paper 2. From chapter 5 to 6. Paper 2, chapter 5 to 6. Chapter 5 deals with agrarian social system, basically, Indian village, the whole lot of Indian village related things. And as you go down into those chapters, you would find modern democratic institutions, impact of democratic institutions on caste system, on village India. You also have a mention there that is media and social change. Did you notice? Media and social change. Chapter 5, paper 2. Hey Nana? Sachin, did you get it? Oh. Media and social change. Now, examiner will not give the question in those lines itself. He would try to modify it. Say for example, we have now several new topics related to media. New fields are coming up, like Facebook anthropology. When we see such kind of terminologies, these are the new ones which are an extension of how media can influence the society and people. This is not there in your syllabus, but there is all possibility of such kind of terms being asked. This is the new content that is added to the existing syllabus. So syllabus may be a superficial outward content that the UPSC is giving. To what depth it goes has to be fathomed based on the recent changes that are happening. I hope you got it. Within the content, if anything new has happened, say for and that is how 2021 main examination, you see one question. Look at your question booklet. 2021 main examination. Question number 5, paper 2, question number 5, B. Ethnic media and social change. It is because with the particular title an article was published, and there is a different kind of a connotation being given to the media and how social change is engineered. So actually superficially, if you observe, the syllabus says media and social change. If a new content is added, you would get a question there. Similarly, if something that has happened, a latest development for that matter, meaning it is not the content addition, but then if some publication has come, or if some anthropologist made to news for some reason or the other, like how we spoke about the extradited anthropologist in the recent past, questions related to that. So ethnic media was something that was published in a journal, and hence the question has come. So going back, when I say anthropology current affairs, there are two kinds of things. One is new content being added to the existing one. Secondly, for the existing, without changing the content, there are some developments in the recent past. Some anthropologist passed away. An anthropologist who had written very important book, if he passed away, or a concept he had given, UPSC doesn't want to lose that opportunity of asking a question. It would definitely ask a question. Or some kind of a fossil was found, 100 years have passed by. So UPSC should ask a question. So we will have to be vigilant on these developments. Kind of any obituaries are there, any publications are there. This is where from contemporary questions are actually asked. Am I there? Okay. So always we should learn the static and we should see what dynamic things are happening. As far as your basic concepts are concerned, they may remain the same. But then when it comes to the presentation in the exam, we will have to see to it that all the latest content can go into your answer so that the examiner also feels fresh. You get my point? That is the reason why one should not pick up any book that is readily available in the market. Some model answers are there. Do not simply buy, learn it by heart and write in the exam. That doesn't help. Do not ever think that UPSC is so foolish that it doesn't recognize where from you have copied the answer. It looks for the originality, your own way of writing and expressing. So concepts you learn, when it comes to presentation, you should develop a unique way of presenting yourself, and that is where you would score well. You there? Are there anything that you want to ask till now?
During the course of the 4.5 months, like every day you teach for 3 to 4 odd hours, how should we go about like studying, revising it?
I'll start with that. Actually, we started there and we went here. We'll continue on that. So, I love films. I want my film to run for 100 days, kind of 100 days celebrations. So, about 95 to 100 lectures, the course will end. And ideally about 3 hours of classes, put together about not less than 270 hours of teaching goes on. 3 hours you will be in the class, and general formula, irrespective of whether it is general studies or optional, general formula we have is whatever time you are spending here, almost the equal amount of time you would give for self-study. That is where somebody is writing 12 hours of working, I am really afraid what time is left out after 12 hours. So this is the basic formula. At least a 5 hours of time you are giving to your optional, as long as you are preparing for the class. And class doesn't mean that you are simply coming, listening to the lecture and going. There are a lot of activities go on in the class. See, for me, what is the most important thing is to make you comfortable with the concept. This is very, very important, sir. Because if your concepts are not clear, in the exam when application based questions come, you will not be in a position to face the questions. So your concepts have to be pretty clear. So in the first 1 week to 10 days, we try to build your vocabulary, basic vocabulary. Anthropological vocabulary we build. And concept building is very important. And I am trying to answer several questions together. Running note is very, very important, sir. Whatever I would be mentioning in the class, unquestioningly, every small fact, every small discussion has to go into your note. One thing you should remember is the moment you have joined me, you have lost your freedom to ask a question, why I should write this. You understand? If it is said that this topic has to be studied, it has to be studied. Reasons are immaterial. Reason I will figure out why I should make somebody study that. Suppose this year I think that this particular topic may not be so important for the student, and I may say that I would give you an overall understanding, but then you need not have to spend much time on this. But there is something else which is going to be very, very important, and you have to do this. Unquestioningly you should do this. And while doing so, people might say last year it was asked, why will it be asked this year? That you don't bother. As long as you would want to be a student. If you would want to be a teacher, I will tell you the way of figuring out what has to be studied, what has to be taught, what should not be taught. I hope you get my point. Running note is very important. And many of you might have stopped writing, not simply note but dictated note. Dictations are very, very important. They are going to help you in completing your paper on time in the exam. 3 hours non-stop writing is very, very important. Sometimes we make you write non-stop in the class, 1.5 to 2 hours of time, and that is important. You don't come up and teach me by saying that, no, why don't you give this in a printed form or in a soft copy, etc. There are certain time tested things based on which I go about, and you are supposed to follow. ठीक है, don't think that I am being a dictator on that, even if you think it doesn't matter, because we are all here only to make you clear the exam. As long as we both are working for clearing your exam, whatever it takes we have to do. If in order to get the 340, 330 in anthropology, if you have to come here and walk like a monkey, you are supposed to walk like that. I mean, it's as simple as it is. Okay. And I fondly have produced certain books, and which from time to time I would be modifying, adding new topics to the booklets, and those books are not to function as a pillow to relax on. Generally UPSC preparation comes with huge lot of books. You need not have to buy your mattress, you need not have to buy the pillows, etc. They are naturally there. And if at all you had studied for your IIT, for your medical entrance, thick books, aram se kind of a thing, it is not for that purpose. And I see that some students do not open the books till the end of the course also. For them also I have special ceremonies. I go to their rooms, I do the ribbon cutting, I open the books and give to them, and kind of so those facilities are also there. And in order to avoid such kind of circumstances, we make you get the books to the classroom, we open the books in the classroom, we try to identify what are the topics. So it's like one topic I have done in the class today. Similar or the same topic, if it is there in your booklet, you should go back, read from the booklet, and you will have to start writing, scribble those additional points in your class notes. And first and foremost thing is, don't be absent to the class. That is very, very important. Andhrulu Arambha Surulu ani. Initially you are with all weapons and all arms and armory put on, and then you would be ready to be ruthless towards whatever, but then gradually kind of. That should not happen. Till the last, you must be there in the class, attend all classes, write with the same rigor. This will only help you. When I am saying that you write, we will talk about other things also. This is the books. Why I am mentioning this is, we have another question there, where from to read. See, there are good lot of books I have added to your list. Yeah. No, it's not here. It's there. Yeah. Page 8. तो हम क्या करेंगे क्लास के लिए? We will take the first block. You depend on your own class notes. You depend on the books that are given in the first block, first 5 books, and then whatever latest developments are there, all the latest developments which I think are important for your exam, I will be providing you in the form of PDFs. So that is going to be your source of study. Once you finish them, if you still have that urge to read more from several books or journals, I am there to help you out from where to choose, etc. Don't simply pick up any book that is recommended by anybody or that is being sold by any random bookstall. Okay. Because one thing that is very, very important is to have a strong faith in your teacher. Having a strong faith in your teacher is very, very important. మీరు డౌట్ఫుల్గా నన్ను చూస్తే నాకు అర్థమవుతుందండి, 30 years ఇండస్ట్రీ ఇక్కడ. సో యూ డోంట్ థింక్ దట్ ఐ విల్ నాట్ మేక్అవుట్. ఐ విల్ pretty well make out. Whether you are attentive, whether you are sleeping with the eyes broad open, కళ్ళద్దాలు పెట్టుకొని కళ్ళద్దాల వెనకాల పడుకుంటున్నారా, అన్నీ తెలుస్తాయి. So you are not going to be allowed to sleep. You know Balkrishna? You know, right? South India superstar. No? We will talk about him. We will also learn from him how exactly the culture of loving comes and things like that. As a part of culturology, we will see. So don't sleep in the class. If you are sleeping in the class, ask your neighbor to wake you up, slap you and wake you up. Writing is very, very important. You understand your own handwriting confidently? Sure? Any of you who face a problem in reading your own handwriting? And if at all you have this kind of a problem, we will specially work on you. We have people on board, like people who can work on your handwriting. Handwriting experts are there where you can go, you can try to improve your handwriting, because it's not simply sufficient that you write things, they have to be understandable, first for you, second to the examiner. Sometimes what happens is, when I sit to evaluate the paper, student comes to sit with me and the student explains, madam, I tried to write like this, you need not have to sit beside me and decipher what you are trying to say there. So if at all handwriting is a problem, then also we should try to take care of it. I mean, when I am asking questions, be open. When you go to a doctor, unless otherwise you tell the problem, how can he give the medication? So you will have to be open and say out your problems, etc. So not less than 5 hours in a day. Where from to study are those. Your class notes is very, very important. Do not ever depend on your friend, your friends, or the ardent enemies in civil services. They are the people who are first to wish that they pass and you don't pass. When I am saying this, you may not agree, but then 3 idiots had already shown. And your seniors who might have gone through this whole process, where they believe that they studied, they could not get through, but the other fellow who copied from them or who learned from their notes have passed, they can tell the tales of that. So do not trust anybody. Trust your own handwriting, trust your own time, be regular to the class, write down and give whatever is necessary. What social media you are into? Anni. Sakalam. I am nobody to say anything about it, it's your own choice. How exactly you are going to use them for your benefit. We will have another class when we start the syllabus, social media and social change. We will talk about all those medias and how exactly they can change your lifestyle, challenge your lifestyle and give new problems to your life. We will see that. These are where to start and where to study from. Certain other questions, in addition to this, as a part of the program, we have a constant reviewing mechanism in the sense that till the last batch I had this practice of meeting the students on a regular basis based on the roll number you are called to check your notes and things like that, your presence or absence, your tests and all that stuff. But this batch onwards I am trying to change this. We would be dividing you into specific groups, especially in the offline mode. For online people, I will tell you how exactly we are going to do. For the offline people, we would be dividing you into groups of 5 or 6, and we would be trying to giving you the projects, in the sense that you are supposed to work on one particular topic. You would generate a write-up or a presentation on it, and one of you or two of you would present that to the others. I mean, this goes on as a regular exercise. We see to it that during your course all the groups get that opportunity of taking up this particular thing, and this will go a long way, would help you in your interview preparation. And many of you might be facing this problem of standing on the dais and delivering a talk to the others. So if at all public speaking related issues are there, they can be better handled by such kind of opportunities. This is as a group activity. Individual activities also I will give you. One topic I will give you, ask you to present on the dais, etc. These things actually refine the kind of preparation. So group kind of a learning we are trying to, and then the group's responsibility is shared by yourself. How you are writing, your friend is not writing, and kind of thing. Mutually doubts clarification, that is like a peer review that is happening in your preparation. Along with I coming to meet you and discuss things, and I am pretty sure this can really help you in, sometimes what happens is, because each one of us are hard pressed for time, you come running to the class and then with equal speed you go. I mean, only that 3 hours you are there in the class, and at the time of farewell kind of a thing, then you get to introduce to one another. Oh no, you stay in the next door only, I didn't know this kind of. And sometimes it is so wonderful that he might be your first cousin, you don't know that your first cousin is there in your class. Forget about your own sibling being there. So initially when I am forming this kind of a group, you will actually get that help in your course itself, and this would help a long way in your preparation in the future also. Okay, that is one. And when it comes to note writing, in the very first class I will teach you how exactly to write the note. That is not a topic for today in your first lecture. So if you are joining this course, please do not miss out the first session in the offline mode, June 22nd. In the online mode, we would be starting on June 29th. So don't miss out on the first session, so that you will learn how to make a note. And when it comes to testing, we have two kinds of things. One is assignments, the second is tests. After every 15 to 20 sessions, we give you a set of assignment. But then you remember, sir, every day based on whatever topic that I would be teaching, I will be mentioning list of questions. These are the questions that you will have to prepare kind of. And suppose the topic is, if not fully, even if partially the topic is covered, you try to write an answer. Don't wait for some grand occasion to come to start writing. Adedo janji vesukuna tarvate pooja chestamu atla kaadu. So you will have to start right from the beginning, right from the first week onwards. You should try to start writing, because that has been a major stumbling block for students. They say that they understand, but then when it comes to writing, there is a problem. Even if the topic that you have, the content you have is hardly 100 words, try writing, so that constantly you are when it comes to assignments, mostly these are self-assessment based ones. We will talk about it towards the end also. And when it comes to tests, if you are a part of comprehensive course, you are put to certain tests soon after the assignment. After every 15 or 20 days, you are going to write a test on the entire syllabus that happens. Mostly, initially I put the test of about 200 marks, but then gradually we increase it to 250 marks and 3 hours of test. And even if you are in the online groups, if you want to write the test in the classroom, you can come here, you can inform us well in advance and write the test. And anyways, offline students, you are mandatorily to come and write the exams. Remember that if you have joined the comprehensive course, it becomes your responsibility to write the tests. And do not fear writing. Whatever topics that you are writing in the tests here, if more or less the same, generally that happens, more or less the same topics when they are occurring in UPSC, that gives you that ease and cushion. How many ever times you are going on repeating, that's how you used to prepare, right, in the school and college. And the same exercise here, formula is one and the same. It's only that you have to relentlessly put that effort constantly. So for me, writing is very, very important. And I generally remember students by their handwriting. If you are submitting your answer scripts, I know who you are. If you are not submitting your handwritings, if you are not meeting me for your notes checking, etc., I really don't know who you are. Many times your name doesn't matter for me, your face and your handwriting, that's where my database gets stored. As simple as it is. Okay? I'll take up some here. How to score well? Score well is first there should be clarity in concept, sir, and there have to be regular writing. I mean, in order to remember the facts, what we have to do, certain flashcards or scribbling pads you will have to maintain, all facts, all pictures that you will have to draw and keep for your exam, repeatedly going through those facts and pictures. Generally in the classroom we give you good lot of pictures, tables, illustrations, etc. All of them have to be there in your booklet, and make them a ready reference, like in a small scribbling pad you draw the graphs and pictures. Whenever there is time you try to revise. Sir, initially, see, when you are giving the first attempt, I have seen in the recent result that among my students more than 50% of them cleared in the first attempt, and that's a real wake up call for many people. It means that it is doable. It is doable if you are following the rules. That you will have to remember. So do not think that first you finish the syllabus, I will do it later. That should not be the case. Every day you follow that schedule properly. 3 hours class mein kar rahe ho, 2 hours or 3 hours you are doing at home. Fix the time, do that. And if at all you are in the online students have to fix the time of viewing the lecture, attending the lecture. If at all you would want to attend in the morning 5 o'clock, you stick to that time, or evening 5 o'clock, you stick to that time. And doing the entire lecture at a time is important. When you are coming to the offline class, you are not going to pause me, right? You don't pause me, and then you are not going to put me aside for some time, then again aise to nahi ho raha hai. But in the online, that is the problem. Discipline is the problem, and I think because of this many people try to come to the offline mode. So for the online students especially, what I can say is discipline, time maintenance should be there, and soon after that doing the homeworks. I was a school teacher, so I am very particular about the homeworks. Daily whatever homework is being given, you will have to do them randomly. I will ask you to show in the class, you will show in the class, and that's how things are. And yeah, Lahari is asking, is there any difference in taking online and offline? I mentioned this right now. We try to do our best to give our service in the online mode as well. Sometimes what happens is based on your situation. If you are a working person or somewhere in Sikkim you cannot come down, then you try to take in the online mode. But then suppose you think that no, seeing is believing, directly going and sitting in the class gives me that feel of the classroom kind of things. It's a individual perception and ease. But from my side I will try to do the most. Even for the online students, we have live doubts clarification sessions. Very frequently we put batch wise live doubts clarification sessions. I think Lahari, that will help you. And definitely Pradeep Ghosh, I will try to maximize my performance so that you would depend on the optional to clear your exam. As I said to you, Ranit Roy, these lectures morning I do the class, and then see live doubts clarification is there, but when it comes to the class, lectures recorded within 2 to 3 days of time are made ready and provided to you. यहाँ से कुछ questions से पूछिए, then I will go down. They have a long list. Every time it has to be a combination. You cannot simply say that I will draw the picture and you have your own way of understanding. It is not like that. You have to have a combination based on the question. If any analytical question is there, your answer should also communicate in that way. If any factual question is there, maybe sometimes giving tables, sometimes maybe pictorial representations. Suppose a question is there, comment on the distribution of hunting gathering tribes of India. Suppose that is the question. Comment on the hunting gathering tribes of India. So their distribution, meaning that when he is asking distribution, he is trying to seek information regarding in which all places such kind of populations are there. So it definitely calls for drawing a map. So it is akin to the question. Based on what kind of a question is asked, you have to give the, whether you call them mind maps or pictures or content. It has to be a combination. Some people I see that right from the first paragraph to last paragraph, they go on writing 1, 2, 3, 4 points. Whether it is introduction or conclusion or anywhere in between, they are not really bothered. They know 10 points, they want to give the 10 points to the examiner, and the examiner should celebrate. It should not be like that. And question to question also, there have to be change in the way you are presenting. There should not be monotony also. Am I there?
Ma'am, when we go with the mind map, there will be words less than 100 or 150 words there. Then marks will be cut off.
No, it is not that way. When we start writing your notes, I will tell you how exactly fit your picture, what kind of picture goes in, and where there is a necessity of explanation, and where there is no necessity of explanation. There are certain contents where explanation doesn't require. Explanation is coming in the picture itself. So you are not compromising on the number of words also. And many times such kind of tables, etc., they will help you. You are giving the factual data or things in the illustration there. Explanation part you are trying to write in the paragraph manner. So it should actually complement. Rather, you are not supposed to draw a picture or give a mind map just for the sake of giving. I know this, I learned, I have to give you somehow. It should not be like that. और बताइए जी. There is a possibility, but then we don't look at it from that point of view. See, any time when questions are to be prepared for the upcoming year, that is based on certain developments, as I was mentioning. There might be certain events that have happened, certain developments that have happened, based on which a question is generally asked in the exam. It may coincide with some of the previous questions. So it is really helpful in solving the previous year questions. You may, occasionally write structures and keep, or you may perhaps write the entire answer. Say for example, on a particular topic, I give you a 500-word dictation for a topic. And when I am giving a dictation, I try to keep in mind that any kind of question related to that topic can be asked. Not restrictedly like, no, I don't measure and give 100 words for this. Suppose anything extra is asked from that topic, you don't have anything to write. That is the reason why I make it a point to the student that when you are studying, don't study in a question answer form. You try to study based on the content, based on the concept. You understand the concept, and then when you are practicing, you write in a question answer form. ठीक है? और बताइए, you have some questions.
Though we prepare the entire syllabus and however we have the writing practice, 1 or 2 questions will be you cannot.
Definitely.
So in such situation, what can be done in order to?
If those couple of questions are something like a bolt from the blue for you, you have never heard of them, not a single word from there, do not unnecessarily put a hand. Don't try to bluff. At least some semblance is there from what you must have studied. You can correlate and write. Then see, it will not be more than 1 or 2 questions where such kind of thing might happen. But then one has to remember that question has to be comprehensively understood. Don't go by seeing only the topic there, in what context the question is being asked. So entire question has to be taken in a right spirit in order to write an answer. Mohan, there are many stories regarding targeting the options and all that. That is where I was mentioning, do not give too many ears to people. As long as you keep listening, people will go on saying. Effective and unique answer in anthropology, I have already told you, do not copy from any source. You learn the concept, you try to develop your own unique style of writing the answers. As far as your bio component is concerned, I already told you, do not fear, do not find yourself weak. but then you try to stick to, it's like, I was telling one of you the other day, whatever science technology related syllabus is there in your general studies, it will not be more than that particular depth to which you would be going. Rather, it is the socio-biology, not the true biology. I hope I am clear. Somebody says, I will surely pass pre, not prepared for mains. Can I clear mains if I start now? Is question and answer type of preparation good? I already told you. Sir, I do not know, some of you make this mistake. You give your prelim without completing your mains preparation. That's a major mistake people are doing. You are not supposed to give pre just to clear the pre. You have to give the pre in order to get into service. That is the final objective. So if you are not prepared in your main examination, do not venture into it. But see, Lakshmi, if you are clear, if you are clearing the prelim this time, I would have to talk to you in person what level of preparation you are, and maybe I will try to guide you accordingly. That cannot be a common question. Please approach me separately. Vaibhav, pursuing second year of graduation, B.Tech, confused. There is still time, Mr. Vaibhav. Second year nikal lo, and then we will in the meantime talk about it. Enjoy your college days like how your brothers have enjoyed. The secret, Pradeep, to get high scores is to, one, write to the point. I mean, you have to answer the question straight. Generally what successful students do is they prepare the answer if initially on a piece of paper. That means what all things, the structure as we call them, preparing the structure, and within the structure also there has to be an identification of how many words each of the component has to come with, and then trying to putting on the paper. So same question if you have answered in the regular practice for 10 times, now you need not have to go for a structure. You can directly write the answer in the exam. So a lot of practice for that matter, working out on the conclusions and introductions and pictures, etc. And do not be very happy by simply writing once. Generally what I say is when you retire at the end of the day, at that time you write a couple of answers and rest them there. Your day must end with an answer writing. Whether you are optional or your GS, you will have to end with an answer. Rest it there. Next day morning, the moment you get up, you read. See how horrible it is or how good it is. You can be your own judge. And if you think that it is not up to the mark, discard the answer, rewrite the answer. And don't be mechanical in submitting your answers. Just because I have asked you to submit one answer, don't simply be mechanical and scribble in a 5-10 minutes and give it to me. Give it a thought. See, while you are preparing here as a part of the course, as a part of your preparation, while you are preparing, you give as much time as possible. Even if one question is taking 2 hours, it doesn't matter. When you are preparing the masterpiece, once you have done that in the actual exam, you can complete the answer in 5 or 7 minutes. That is possible. But then you have to give the time in getting the best of the answer. I hope you are getting me, right? Any prerequisites for starting the classes? This is a good question, Sumit. Do not resort to any pre-course studies. If it is general studies, we will tell you before the course you do this and come, so that you understand what the speaker is speaking. Otherwise you would either doze off or you would leave, kind of a thing. Don't do that in the case of the optional. I will have unlearning problems with you. Learning has to be done in a proper way, especially when we are introducing an optional subject. Optional subject has to be introduced in a particular way, so that you really fell in love with the subject. You start reading it with a lot of enjoyment, etc. So don't worry. What I want from you is give my standard 5 hours to every day and 3 hours uninterrupted in the classroom, 2 to 3 hours uninterrupted at home, and be regular to the exercises that we are giving. Unknowingly you will learn the subject and suddenly you will realize that you become an anthropologist. You know, one fine day you will, we would see in the first 1 week, 10 days only that you start feeling different. You start feeling good. What say? She was there in the previous batch. If at all any questions are there, you can ask her. I did not put her there, she came. Srikar, I think about between 5 to 10% of syllabus comes related to biology, but that is also not a pure biology. Don Abhinay, naam acha hai. He says, are the social classes material enough? Sir, printed materials when we are giving, printed materials, the books are in addition to the classroom material. So exclusive printed material, definitely I have given a lot of articles, etc. It's a good compilation from various sources, but classroom information, classroom discussions are very, very important. And the same person I think is asking, Srikar is asking this question, difference between anthropology and sociology. See, actually speaking, look at your syllabus, chapter 1, paper 1. There is a topic there, relation with other disciplines. In fact, we will be talking about this topic when we go to that in the syllabus. But then, if it is to be answered in the context of selection of the optional, let me say this, I am not here to propagate any optional subject. I do not beat my chest and say that no, you should take this subject, only others, and kind of that chest thumping and thigh thumping exercise I don't do. Thigh thumping telusu kada, thodagottadam antaru. So I don't do that exercise. But then when it comes to a brief comparison between sociology and anthropology is that when it comes to anthropology, it is much more objective when compared to several other social sciences for that matter. Objective in the sense that there is one best thing to choose from, one thing to choose from. And I'll give you one example. Suppose there is a situation, there is a problem faced by a community. Say a health issue is there, a land alienation problem is there. In such a circumstance, what should be the solution? The best solution is generally supported in the syllabus itself, in the subject itself. See, every time the interest of the student, the aspirant of anthropology is to see to it that the most downtrodden, the most oppressed, their interests are protected. And your answer should reflect that love towards the downtrodden societies. So when I am saying this, even when I am taking a decision as an administrator or an anthropologist, this thing has to be made clear and that should be reflected in your answer. To that extent, even if there is a subjective answer, there is an objective solution being given to you. So when it comes to sociology and anthropology, the basic difference is there is a lot of subjectivity in the sociology and less of subjectivity and more objectivity in anthropology. That is the basic difference. Maybe that is the reason why many people are able to score well in anthropology, because of that objective nature. H. Reddy, the question is, can you suggest how to do self-study for cracking anthropology with decent score in UPSC without choosing coaching for classes? You can pretty well do, sir, because you people are much more intelligent than what we are. The thing is, you need to have time. If you have time of about a year and a half to spare for the optional, you can do that. The only issue with this optional subject is that it is scattered across the books, it is not there at one place, and in order to have a conceptual clarity, diverse kind of sub-disciplines are there. So if you have time to spare, you can pretty well do it. Some list of books are attached to the document, sir, the PDF. If it is a long-term mentorship program, sir, mentorship program here in this particular case is based on huge number of tests that go on year long. So if you have already finished preparing the subject, then you can do the long-term mentorship program where weekly assignments are given, tests are given to you. So in small portions I will be completing on a weekly basis for you. So that's a year long thing, provided you finish your syllabus first. And yeah, Vaibhav, I think I answered quite a lot of your questions, anthropology, sociology, etc., bio component. If further questions are there, we will get on to a call. Yeah, I will tell you, somebody called SK is writing, he wants to know about the test series kind of a thing. Aap log bhi suniye. If any of your friends is interested in, you can communicate to them. As far as you are concerned, first I will start with this. As far as you are concerned, testing in the classroom program, we have two variants here. One I call foundation course. Look at the last page in your handout. The other is comprehensive course. Sir, so there is still time between now and your course beginning. In between you can come and collect your books. You can talk to the counseling team there, collect your books. If you are there in the online program, once your enrollment is done, we will dispatch your books. They will reach in about a week's time based on where you are located. Now, you are not going to do anything with the books. अभी तो उसको भगवान के पास लगाओ, संदल अंदर लगाओ, उसको रखो, and if at all it is possible, flip through in which book what is there, kind of. No formal study for that matter. But then when you are coming to the class, always carry the first booklet, that is the booklet related to syllabus and old questions compilation. That is very, very important. And as and when I ask you to get a particular book, you should carry that to the class. Okay. Now, as is mentioned in that last page there, in the foundation course, apart from the teaching and all those exercises, I will also be putting you to assignments. In the case of comprehensive tests, assignments are followed by tests. So here not less than 4 to 5 assignments will be given to you, and the structures for the answers are discussed. Structures are discussed so that you are well versed with how to write answers, etc. And here, apart from those 4 to 5 assignments, you will be having about 8 tests, some of 200 marks and rest of them 250 marks. So in a total of about 12 tests you will be writing as a part of this program. In addition, on a daily basis, I will be giving you list of questions to practice. Whenever I am giving you list of questions to practice, I will be giving you parallelly how to structure your answers, which you can practice at home. This is as far as your classroom program is concerned. Suppose you have already studied the subject, you are looking for testing and score improving, etc. Suppose you are writing or expecting to write the main in the year 2022. We have a short test program which we title as Anthro Enhance, to enhance your scores, from 2nd of July 2022 to 3rd of September 2022. This program continues. It will consist of 10 full-length tests. And whenever these tests are conducted, I would give you video explanations. And if at all you are somebody who stays near Hyderabad or something, you can come here and write. And if you have cleared your preliminary exam, you become all the more a serious entity for me, not simply for yourself. So I'll have to give you that extra push to you. I would be working closely with you in order to see to it that your scores are improved. And apart from this, I will also of course evaluate your papers. I'd give you the feedback regarding how you have written, how you are not supposed to write, blah blah blah. This is the shortest kind of a test program. One other we have is Anthroment. This is for about 1 year it goes on. It consists of not less than 40 tests which are arranged in different formats, from smaller syllabus to larger syllabus. And you would have weekly tests that you write. Every week you would come and write. To begin with, maybe 2 chapters, 3 chapters I will give per test. So that my idea is, along with your general studies preparation, that should happen. It is not that you are doing one subject neglecting the entire other one. Some people do that. That is very, very dangerous. 2 months I will study only optional, I won't touch GS, or 3 months I will study GS, I won't touch optional. It's going to be very, very difficult. If you have 2 wives, one itself is difficult. You have to give equal attention to both of them, right? It's like that. We will talk about these wives business in the class when we start. You like it? You love it, I know. Pradeep, we are getting into very specifics here. After mentioning theory, should I mention the concepts? It all depends on how you are going to communicate to the examiner based on the question. I cannot generalize simply like that. And definitely handwriting will play a role. As I generally say, whenever there is a problem of legibility, you will have to practice in the 2-ruled book. As you are saying, kids book, should I try? You have to try. Sometimes it happens, our handwriting goes from good to bad to worse. Especially in the classroom when I am dictating, first page is very beautiful, second page is okay, third page is bad, fourth page is worse, fifth page you cannot touch. And you will take neighbor's notes and get it photocopied. It should not be like that. You have to see to it that the answers are legible, handwriting is legible. If legibility issues are there, definitely you work in the 2-ruled book 15 minutes every day, at least for a week, then you will start to understand your own handwriting, so that you don't go to medical shop to get your notes read. No? You did it any time? Took your notes to the medical shop? Yeah, I think those are the questions people have come up with. Aur aap bataiye. So these next about 10 days, don't do anything. Relax and get your books and do one thing. What kind of books you will be writing in? White papers only, spiral books. Margin lagao, margin laga ke rakh lo. 2 margins should be there generally, right side big margin, left side small margin. Leave a couple of pages for index. Write page numbers and keep. And this exercise is very, very important. Your notes have to be indexed properly. Itna karke aiyega and get your question paper booklet also along with yourself. And in the online mode, if somebody is there, once you join, you would want to have a personal interaction. Aapke notes वगैरह देखना है कभी, तो we will try to make an arrangement. There are ways in which we try to meet you, kind of. We will talk about those things on an individual basis. But as far as you are concerned, I would see you on 22nd in the classroom with the minimum stuff. Anything else, sir? When do we have doubt session for online batches? At not less than twice a week, Vignesh. And particular dates and times will be mentioned to you. Generally in the afternoon it will be between 2 and 3 So you will be notified from time to time. Hanji sir.
I have a similar kind of role. I have a coaching class in law excellence
हाँ
for approximately 5 hours.
हाँ.
So can I manage there in the time? And I am working as a.
How much time do you work?
Actually, there is not much work there, so it's flexible for coaching in law excellence. If I have to take the optional as well, it will be scheduled for me.
The formula is simple, amma. 8 hours in the class, 7 to 8 hours back home. The rest of it is your time. Whether you would want to work, whether you want to rest, you want to do whatever, that's how it's as simple as it is. But then you see, when do you want to write the exam? Prelim?
Actually, I thought of 2024, but I got joined in coaching classes.
Generally, for the people who are doing both general studies and optional subjects simultaneously, initially that stress will be there. But then, if you are not a working person, I mean, after this, I mean, how much of thing that you can put into work, that's a very personal kind of a case, But then, if at all you are somebody who is keen on writing 2023, etc., we have to take that risk. There is no choice, and we cannot delay it further. Suppose you would want to do in the December kind of a thing, that will go pretty close to your pre. So if 2023 is your time when you would want to write your pre, this is the time, this alone is there in order to, and then that load initially for 1 week or so, that load will be really there. But then gradually things will settle down. You get to fall into that rhythm of doing. Because people have done before, not that people did not do before, people have done. So, but that load you should be ready to take.
Zero knowledge has started since May itself, so is there any problem like completing the entire syllabus of GS and as well as optional for 2023 itself?
I do not know how exactly you are figuring out with general studies, etc. But when it comes to the optional, I am pretty well you will be able to, and people have done with GS and optional together. You should be able to do, I mean, properly if you are planning the number of days for each subject and when exactly you are going to revise, parallelly whether you are writing tests or not. So that whole list of things that are mandatory you have to do, then you will be able to do. Ji sir.
How long the recorded videos will be available for the online match?
There is a portal period, portal time availability that you need to talk to the counselor. They will tell you what is the time. Do I need to make notes apart from the printed note, etc.? Sir, class notes is the major thing. Whatever you would add is to the class notes only. So every day, every week you will have 5 days, that is Monday to Friday. So accordingly you can actually check for the 90 plus classes. So based on that it would end, about 4.5 months it would take. And suppose during the weekdays some holiday has come, I try to compensate on the Saturday. You should be ready for that particular thing. And tests are generally on the Saturdays only. I do not want to mess up with the rest of the 5 days. Saturdays you should come and take the tests. Anything else?
Whether the week schedule, topics will be.
Yeah, topics will be given every Saturday. Or Friday. Friday is your last lecture, for example. For the next week, I will give you the topics of the next week.
Next time is 10 to 1.
10 o'clock to 1 o'clock, yeah. 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock. Good question, I forgot. You actually asked very good question. The 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock. The important thing I did not tell you. May I go? If any very personal questions are there, you can come and meet me. Lahari, assignments are generally for self-evaluation. I would give the structures in the class. Have a good time, sir. Thank you.